Hello, everybody. This is Real Talk with Mary Jae. I am elated to be sharing with you all once again because I have back in the studio with me none other than Mr. Leon Walker. We're talking about Intrigue, my new book. I am so happy to have released my new book, Intrigue, and I am honored to have Leon Walker back sharing with us from the topic, the chase. The chase. Now, you all know Mr. Walker. If you don't, listen, he is world renowned. So I want you to go and follow him right where he is at Leon Walker. And especially on Instagram, man, you'll get so many great nuggets there. He is a 32-year decorated naval veteran. He is loaded. He is an author of Broken and Love Ship and so much more. He's a mentor and so much more, a motivational speaker. And so I am so happy to have you back sharing with me on today, Leon. How are you this morning?
Mary, I'm good. Good morning. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure sitting and talking with you. But yeah, I enjoy it all the time.
Yes, so do I. And I know we have so much to share. I mean, when I go to your content, it's loaded. I'm like, wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. You're doing some amazing work, helping people, empowering others. And one thing about you, I know you keep it real, really real. That's why I think we connect so well.
Right. I do. I have to keep it real. I've cut so many corners in my life, did so much lying, deceiving people. I just got sick of it. So I never realized how good it felt to always tell the truth, even if it's going to hurt somebody. I tell the solution.
Yeah, that's right. Even if it hurts, I always say, hurt me now, don't wound me later. That's been my thing in relationships. Look, tell me the truth, be upfront, be honest, be open. Let me know now and let me deal with the information that I know. Let me be responsible of how I want to process it. But don't lie and cheat and scheme. And then in the long run, after I've invested time and energy and feelings and all of that, then I end up being hurt. So hurt me now and don't wound me later. That's my thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it makes sense because hurt you now, you have a chance to heal your wound,
That's right. Yeah. So Leon, you've written Love Ship. There's so much wealth in this, the content and all of what we have already discussed. And you're coming out with a new book, Loveless.
Yeah, the 7 loveless traits, because a lot of women, a lot of people around the world have read the book, the 5 love languages. And a friend gave me the book last year and I was sitting here looking at it and I thought, and it came, this is how God has been working with me. I started reading the book and I put it down, but as soon as I came home one day in March, I looked at it and I said, how can I write a book that's the opposite of that? Because we never talk about that.
That's so good. Yeah. Yes, the opposite of the love language. There's loveless traits. That's powerful.
Yeah, loveless traits.
That's powerful. And I know you're going to be all in it, all through it.
I'm almost done. I'll be done probably this week, and it'll be, the editor will get it in a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm almost done with it actually.
Wow. I'm excited for you. Can't wait to read it. Can't wait to dive right into it because I know you're going to meet people right where they are, as you have always been doing. And I admire you so much. You took your life and you've grown from it. You've learned from it, and you saw where the weak links were. You saw what you were able to do with the power that you have. Sometimes our greatest power lies within those things that have weakened us, and we find strength in that. And then once we find that weak link, we can come back and strengthen others and show them this is what I did. And that's what I see you doing. This is what I did. And that's how I was able to get in the mind of women. That's how I was able to manipulate them and control them through the power of their mind by using their body. So that's so powerful. So I couldn't think of nobody else that would do the interview with me on my new book, Intrigue. It's so intriguing. It's so captivating. And I gave you the topic from the chapter, The Chase, chapter 4, I believe, The Chase. So let me hear what you thought about that as you read it.
So, I started reading it, and even the title, The Chase, was like, that hit me hard. All of them hit me hard because the chase and hunting and all that stuff. But when you think about the chase, what you mentioned was the things that drive people forward, right?
Yes.
Passion, drive, motivation, right?
Yes.
I'm a type of guy that I'm always thinking the opposite. Like with the book I told you, I'm writing the opposite of love languages. But when you said the passion, the drive, and the motivation, that I have that. We all have that, right?
Right.
But a lot of us don't use it. We don't know how to tap into it, right?
That's right.
So the way I tapped into it was by thinking about and talking about the negatives that come before that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
my negatives that came before it, what caused me to be driven, passionate, and motivated was being abused, neglected, and left behind.
Yes.
So I had to ask myself, how do I become driven? How do I stay motivated? Where do I find passion? And it all comes from my hurt, my anger, being abused, being neglected. And a lot of people are not self-motivated. I'm self-motivated by not going back to that abused child because he'll
Mm-hmm.
go away. I'm self-motivated by I'm driven by my broken childhood. I'm driven by my dysfunction. I'm driven
That's right.
by my addictions that I want to get over. So
Yes.
those words are synonymous with, the drive, passion, motivation to me are synonymous with the negative things that happen to me because I'm not going back. I want to be stronger. I want to be bigger. I want to be smarter. I want to have a better vision. I want to help people. My passion is I want to prevent people from wanting to commit suicide like I did as a child or even as a young adult or as an adult. So the chase was like the drive, the passion, motivation, driving forward. What's pushing me forward? It was my past and my egregious ways and things like that, and not believing in God when I was a child and having regret. So
Right.
go through those things. You don't want to go through them again. You're going to automatically have drive. You're going to drive yourself away from it, which is
That's right.
forward, right? You're going to
That's right.
have to make yourself better and help other people. You're going to
Right.
stay motivated. Motivation is temporary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Drive and passion. So all of that goes together. But that was what the chase is. What really stuck out to me in the beginning. It got me going. And there's more and more and more as we'll talk about. But that's what really opened my eyes because some people skip, they block out, and they suppress what happened to them as a child. But that's a very motivating factor, right? It's the root cause of good and evil. It's the root cause of continuing
That's it.
that path is the root cause of changing your ways and being a better person and being a bigger thinker and wanting to be more successful. So it's your what you sent me. Those paragraphs are short and solid, but there's a lot in there. So I wanted to always to be pushing forward, but I needed a force to push me forward, and my force pushed me forward was my past.
Wow, you summed it up. You really summed it up. That's exactly, and that's what I was talking about, that weak link that we have. See, we're thinking in the moment that we're in it, that we're strong, that we're Wonder Woman, that we're Superman, and we don't even realize that's our weakness.
Yeah.
That's our weakness. And then once we realize, hey, this thing has weakened me, now how do I reverse it and use it to empower not only myself but others? And I see that's what you have done also. So I knew that the chase would resonate with you. I knew that you
Yeah.
would be able to grasp all of what I was saying in that text.
Yeah, because I'm chasing more, but there was things chasing me. So
Exactly.
I was running from my demons, but there was a time where I didn't know where I was going. But I said either these demons gonna catch up to me again, and they did over and over and over again. But I had to keep moving forward with the drive, the passion, the motivation, because the demons were chasing me, and I was chasing a better lifestyle. I was chasing a better way to be a better leader, a better husband, a better father. I was chasing not to be caught by my demons.
Caught by your demons. Wait right there. Oh my gosh. Caught by your demons.
Yeah, caught.
That
Right.
is profound. Let me tell you, when I was writing this book, And I was writing it really while I was in the process of my divorce. I was writing this book during the time that I was going through counseling. I was writing this book when I was just experiencing so much. I was homeless for 45 days, living in a hotel room, and you'll see that portion, that nugget, when because I saw myself getting out of my car with my clothes over my arm, going into the hotel room, because I would bring a little bit. I stayed in a hotel in the same room for 45 days because I didn't want anybody to know what I was going through. I didn't want to go live with anybody during the process of trying to find another place. I left my house, Leon, with everything in it. Walked away, loaded up my Jeep and my two children. At that time, I was still doing ministry. I was still preaching. I was still serving. I was still counseling and praying for others. And I remember walking to the hotel and would go back to the car at night to get some clothes out of the car while my kids were in the room asleep. And I would see homeless people on the street laying on cardboard boxes and, going to the dumpster, eating stuff out of the dumpster. And that chase, all of that began to resonate in me. And I had to be grateful in the moment, even though that I was going through things myself. I was like, but these people are going through so much more than myself. And so you just said something to not have your demons to catch up with you.
Yeah, what happens in that is that you have to always remember your childhood, regardless whatever happened. You have to always remember that demons are hungry and they're thirsty. They need to be fed. They want.
That's so good. Say that again, Leon. Say that again.
Demons are hungry and thirsty, and they want to be fed. Right.
Yes.
We'll talk about what you mentioned about the flesh later on, and the next chapter.
Yes.
But what you did at that moment, and a lot of people don't realize this. Thank God I was privy to it in the military. And when COVID hit, we were all put into it. But what you did was self-quarantine. So now when COVID hit, you hear quarantine and people are like, I got to stay in the house for 10 days. But you did it not knowing that it was a quarantine. By being in the hotel for 45 days with your kids, your vehicle, and all your stuff. But when you self-quarantine, it allows you to think differently. You have to think differently because now you walked out of a house and you're in a hotel. So you downsize. You were forced to downsize with your children. But a self-quarantine is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. In the military, we had to quarantine and it was a bad thing because of things happen. But now people look at quarantine. Quarantine is like a bad thing, but it gives you time to reflect. It gives you time to build. And at the same time, you have embarrassing moments there, but you still had to be in the ministry. You still had to talk to people, and then you had to leave the church and go back to your small place that you weren't accustomed to. But you made it work. So the quarantine thing is a good thing. But yeah, running from your demons, not being caught, and the demons will always chase you. If they don't catch you, they're gonna look for somebody else. So that's I give people my mindset, my thoughts. I give people my all of my hurt, my pain, my examples is what I want them to have and hear. A lot of men don't follow me, unfollow me, whatever, because I'm not pointing fingers at people. I'm not calling people out. I'm telling them, look, man, I'm 55. Exactly. I'm on this side of dating. I see what you guys are going to do, want to do, or about to do.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm telling you, this is how you save your marriage, your relationship, because people are like, well, why should I talk to you? Because I was the guy that did it wrong. It's easy to talk to people that did it right. Most people that do things wrong or get caught, they're not going to talk about it.
Right. Right. And that's because they're still dealing with it. But when you're set free, from some things, you can talk about anything that had you bound, and you're liberated and set free, and you want to help empower others. When you said that you didn't want your demons, that is still sitting with me right there. Because I did a live for Matters of the Heart. Is something that I do at late night, at 10 p.m. late night, Matters of the Heart. And I told you I did a live before that was entitled, Hello, Sir, Have All Demons Met? And so that's why that is resonating with me, because even during the time of that, when I was going through all of that and writing the book, there was a gentleman that I met at a bank. And I was in the line at the bank, and, ladies, men too, we have this, intuition, particularly ladies. And I felt the presence of this man behind me, and I can kind of feel him checking me out from behind.
Right.
And I said to myself, now when I go up to the teller and do my transaction complete, I'm leaving, I'm getting straight out of here. I knew he was going to follow me. I felt it. I felt it before it happened.
Right.
And so when I got out, as I was walking to my car, he got to his car first and he pulled up. He drove up right in front of me. No, first he stopped me. Let me back up. First, when I was going to the teller, he said, "Hello, beautiful." He said, "It's so good to see a beautiful, classy lady for a change." And I said, "Thank you." So when I left out, I was trying to hurry. I said, "I know he's going to follow me." I'm trying to get to my car. As I was walking across, coming out of the bank, he had made it to his car and he came around and he slowed down and he drove up beside me talking. And he gave me his business card. Now watch this. I'm going somewhere with this. He was in a convertible car and it had a personalized license plate, a very fine car he was in. And I that is specific to me because I remembered who he was from his license plate. When he gave me his business card, I didn't even look at it. I didn't know his name or anything. I got in the car and I actually just tossed it to the side. When I was driving, I was actually behind him. He pulled out and I was behind him at the light. When he turned, I turned. We were going in the same direction. And I say, wait a minute. I don't want this guy to think that I'm trying to follow him or I'm trying to follow up on his approach. So let me turn off. Right. So I turned off and went in another direction. Leon, fast forward, maybe a month, maybe 2 months later, I pull up at this little spot where I just like to go to just sit and have a little serene moment with myself. As I was writing my book, when I pulled up to this spot, the Holy Spirit said, "Look to your right." I was pulled up right behind his car. I saw the license plate. My heart started pounding. I was like, oh my God, I saw the license plate. So I knew. And when the Holy Spirit said, look to the right, I looked to my right. There he was sitting right there by the water. But I kid you not, he was sitting right there by the water. That's a little spot that I usually go to sit by the water and write and write and journal. When I saw him, that came to my spirit. Hello, sir. Have our demons met? Because I knew in the moment, right in the chase of it, that I was being driven. Yeah. And I know that when we're on our path to purpose and destiny and we're being driven, there are going to be some distractions. There are going to be, you see, he had my appetite, if I can be frank with you. Yeah. He was the makeup, everything, his gesture, his posture. He was well spoken, well dressed, put together. He had my appetite. That was my makeup. And now, had I not had a time, like you said, to quarantine and deal with me in the midst of all of that I was struggling with, I would have entertained that. Right. But when I saw him, I was like, oh no, this is what I said in my car. Yeah, oh no, devil, you a liar. I'm getting out of here. Right. I didn't even get out the car. I kept it moving.
Now, I kept going. What would have happened had you got out the car?
Had I gotten out my car, I know I would have sat down and would have begun writing my book or getting set. And he would have walked over to approach me. And it would have led to some conversation. And had I yielded to it, it would have stroked my flesh because I was in a very vulnerable state. And I knew that. And what I'm saying is that the conversation would have led to us getting to know each other, maybe exchanging a number. Maybe he would have called. I probably would have said, yeah, we can have coffee. We can talk sometime. But I knew that was not something that I wanted to even entertain. Right. I'm getting out of brokenness. I'm not getting ready to get right back into another relationship, right. And I find that we do that so many times because we're chasing things and chasing all of the wrong stuff. And that's what the whole chapter speaks about.
A lot of women, they chase, not even literally, but what they are doing is once they come out of a relationship, most times when the guy leaves them or cheats on them, the women are chasing the question of what did I do wrong? They do that.
Right.
what's wrong with me? You know, why did he leave me? Why did he leave me? What could I have done better? And I talk about that in my next book. But they put the onus on themselves as if they did something wrong. And a lot of times, well, just say the women that I was with, I was always the wrong person, because I did a radio interview and they asked me, Leon, how do you know when you have the right one? Well, I always had the right one. They had the wrong one in me.
That's good.
And I did it. My thing was I didn't take responsibility for any of my walkaways, my breakups, my cheating, nothing. I blamed the women on everything, everything on the women, and they would always I would always want to leave them thinking that they were less than me. It was their fault. I didn't do anything wrong, because having narcissistic traits, I was afraid to lose. Narcissistic people, or with the traits, don't like to lose. So I refused to be defeated, even though I knew. But as long as I knew and she didn't know, I didn't lose in my mind. I wanted her to feel like she was the one that lost out. It was her
Mhm.
fault. So yeah, women always chasing that. What did I do wrong? How could I have done better? You know, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't he like me? Then they start changing their looks and their weight and all this other stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I want to let me see if I can attempt to read this. I had it pulled up from my chapter, the chase, the opening version of it. And so when you know when you said you didn't want your demons to catch you, that's how I felt in that moment.
It coming
That's
back to get you. Yeah.
yeah,
Always. It wasn't like I was fearing temptation, but I was fearing temptation because I wasn't aware that uh I didn't know if I was strong enough to fight them. I didn't know if I was strong enough to defeat my demons. So I immersed myself in work. I immersed myself in leading people. I immersed myself in making myself better. But I had not got the demons out of my flesh. And like you said in the chapter you sent me, it was a battle of the mind. So I was still dealing with that. You know, all the
yeah.
good I wanted to do great. I had still hadn't cleansed my soul or my spirit or even my mindset of my addictions. You know,
Wow.
and
That's
me being a type A personality, I was always moving forward, like you mentioned, drive, passion, motivation. But I had not slowed down enough to see if I was ready to accept my demons and battle them. So I still had fears, you know. But like I said, I immersed myself in work so that I was too tired at the end of the day to go back to the drinking, the womanizing, the porn. But I had to make myself tired. So therefore, I wasn't really totally healed. So it took a little longer.
you weren't really totally healed. So you dove into work a whole lot.
Yeah,
Same here.
yeah,
Same here. I
yeah.
just kept
I,
at it, stayed up, working, 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 you
yeah, because
know.
demons, my addictions were not just mental, but they were physical. They were desires. They were what I thought I deserved. At the end of the day, if I did good, if I was rewarded or awarded, I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to womanize. I'm going to talk to these women. I'm going to sleep with somebody. You know, so I was always rewarding myself with what my demons had to offer, instead of a good spirit saying, you know, just go home, go to sleep, rest, read the Bible, read a book, teach somebody else how to do what you did. I was always rewarding myself. So I found that I was very selfish, and you know, doing my soul searching, I found that I was a very selfish man too. You know.
Wow. You know, I tell women all the time is we need that break in between, you know. And I had to pause. I had to pause and take a look at myself in my life
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a monogamous, have always been. Love, love, love relationship, love commitment, love giving and, you know, serving. Always been that way. Always since a little girl, you know, 16 years old, was married, you know. So that has been who I've always been, a wife. That's it. So I I found out the common thing that I was doing repetitively was going from one relationship
Mm-hmm.
and that's ended. Here I am in another.
I did
A
the same.
monogamous, sold out to it, committed to it, right? When that one's over, I'm in the next one. And I found that I didn't allow time for me to really heal from what I had already gone through. I didn't allow time for me to heal from all of the things that I had experienced. Like I said on one of my other interviews, I had a book review last week with therapist Cassandra Smith, who
Mm-hmm.
was actually my therapist during the time that I was going through all of my brokenness, through my divorce. She came on to do her review of my chapter, How Much Do You Tolerate? And it was not until then, Leon, that I found myself in her office crying my eyes out, had never cried, didn't even dawn on me that I had never cried. When I
Right.
told my mom about it, my mom was like, as a little girl, I never remembered you crying. You never would cry.
Yeah.
Never would cry. And I was like, where does that come from? You know, was I in that much pain that I had embedded all of that inside and pushed it so far down? And I just kept moving.
Well,
I
you
just kept doing life.
part of that was because you were forced to, and don't take this the wrong way, because men do it too. You were forced to um, tap into your masculine side, where
Right,
you
right.
cry.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that. I get that a lot, even from past relationships that I've been in. You know, that I have a sensitive side, but I'm so tough. That masculine side just takes charge. And I realize that is there because I had to be who I was at 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I was forced to be a wife and a mother at 16 years old. I went through some battles at 16, 17 years old. So I've been on my own all these years, and now I've gone through so much. I'm tough. I can take it.
See, the
And
thing,
so
I was the opposite of you, because when my parents got divorced, I hated hearing the word husband and wife. I despised that. I hated it. And I told myself I would never marry. And I was 11 years old. I would never marry. I would never have kids, because this is what's going to happen to me, right? My father's going to be forced to leave the house. My mother's going to lose a house. I'm gonna come. I came home. Our furniture and clothes were on the front lawn, and the
mhm,
boarding the house up. How's a kid supposed to understand that? After coming home from the sixth grade, and you see the windows being boarded up, there's a red piece of paper on the door that says eviction notice. That was embarrassing. So I was the opposite of you, all
right.
the same, because I suppressed all my emotions and feelings, and I was like, I'm not gonna cry anymore. That's it. It's over with. And it made me a hard young man. And then
Yeah.
it's made me sneaky and conniving, and I started stealing. And it was just I was a hot mess. And I didn't know where I was gonna go in life, because I wasn't going to college. Both my parents dropped out in the ninth grade. My father's father he dropped out of school in the sixth grade. And so college was never talked about in my home. It was always the military. And with that, I was always seeing men womanizing, drinking, hustling, pimps and all of that. And so that was my mindset, and that appealed to me. And so, and then going back to my addiction to porn, I wanted to control and manipulate women, because I had anger issues because my parents divorced. I thought my mother lost the house. I thought my mother kicked my father out. And so I didn't know the difference. And then I get forced to move with a lady that I don't know. And I'm like, I feel like trash. Like, you can just go live over here, little boy. So I felt left behind. That's why I'm so passionate about children now. My mother,
Right. That's so good.
yeah, my mother did a thank you. My mother did a great job with me. Don't take that the wrong way. But when she lost the house, my parents got divorced, and then it all changed when her brother got murdered. She lost her mind, and then she lost her father, and then her mother, and then she lost her husband and two kids. So my mother lost 6 people in 3 years. That's an average of
Wow.
every 6 months. That's when she started getting high. I didn't understand that until I went to therapy, and I didn't go to therapy until I was 50. I
Mhm.
came out, and I told her I was upset with my mother for 32 years, my whole naval career. And she asked me why, and I told her, she said, that was the drugs. That wasn't your mother. You were mad at the drugs. But I never looked at it that way. And then I started doing my research, and I was like, how could somebody withstand losing one person every 6 months for 3 years and not get high? She should have gotten
Right.
high. I wish she
Right.
did. But my mother was a leader in the household. My mother was tough. My mother was strong. My mother was a den mother. She led the Boy Scouts, led the Girl Scouts. She did all that stuff. And so that's why now I tell these young men and women, don't be mad at your parents. Think about what they did years ago, things that you may not even know. Don't listen to your cousins and uncles and aunts and call your mother names and say she wasn't this, she wasn't that. Your mother's a great person. Your father's a great person. Find out for yourself. find out from some people that have some good things to say about your parents. And I started doing that. Where I had people tell me bad things about my mother. I had people tell me bad things about my father. And to this day, I don't even talk to those people because they could have told me some positive things. You know, there's no way for me to be successful in the Navy by myself. I get it from somewhere. I get my drive, my motivation,
That's right.
determination.
That's right.
And so I started realizing these are genetics. These are things that were passed down to me. So I have to give my parents props for that. I've been giving props for years now, and I really appreciate them. I just started appreciating them until years after their death, you know. But
Yeah.
I'm
See,
you.
that's going into my next book because I'm writing a book right now, and the title of that book, and I'm looking for it to come out in the winter. But the title of that book is "I'm Lonely and I Like It." I'm lonely and I like it.
That was me.
That's that's the title of the next book.
That's a
I'm
lot of women.
lonely and I like it.
Yeah.
But that has to do with because I was, I was married 3 times and divorced. By the age 25, I had been married 3 times. At 16, I was forced to be married. Then later on in life, I fell in love with this wonderful man that just treated me like a queen. He was everything. And we grew apart. He was much older than I was. We were unequally yoked. That divorce ended very well. We didn't have any children. We agreed to that. We just had grown apart and we resolved the marriage. And then I got married again. But I think I was 25 when I got married the last time. And it lasts 19 years, but it was built on deception, lies, and betrayal. And
Well,
so here I am, this monogamous wife, wanting to commit, wanting to do all, especially now that I'm in the church and love the Lord and serving God. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to give it 100%. And then to wake up, and to have everything pulled from under you and realize, wow, it felt like I was bamboozled. It just, I felt like I woke up in somebody else's life. Like, what in the world has happened? Like, I spent 19 years and then I was upset. I was like, God, you could have told me to leave a long time ago, because God gave me a dream and showed me everything that was going on in the marriage and showed, and it's a long story for me to dive into that part. But when I tell you it was profound, it was a profound dream. I'll tell you about it after we get off the broadcast. It was profound. But I was like, God, you could have showed me this years ago. I didn't have to stay in this as long as I have. Like, I didn't have to have 2 children with this man, and I stayed and submitted to him. And I just felt bamboozled. I felt like I was bewitched, literally.
Well,
and when I tell you those demons started speaking to me, laughing in my mind, saying, how did you not see that? Did you not know he was doing that? You didn't recognize that? You couldn't see that? You so discerning, you always encouraging and empowering and counseling others, but you didn't see it. And the laughter got louder and louder and louder in my head. And that's when I knew that I had to go into counseling.
Yeah. So what happens with women like yourself? It's a good thing that you like that. Those are great traits. But when you're doing everything right, you don't see anything wrong because you live by God. You're monogamous. That's your man. You're nurturing. But as having a type A personality like you do, we have a tendency to forget about ourselves, right? And you do harm to yourself. So there's people out here that cut themselves. They're called cutters. People like you and I, we cut ourselves mentally. So you had marriage 19 years and you had children. But I talk about this too. Reasons and seasons. I talk about knowing the person's past. I talk about don't just go on a date to flirt with somebody and to have a nice steak or lobster or whatever. You have to dating has to change. It has to be come from a genuine place. You have to be more mature at the table when you're eating dinner to talk about real things. Not one woman asked me about my past. I've dated and slept with thousands of women, sadly, right? But not one woman asked me about my past. Have they asked me about my father, they would have found out that I had his traits. I was verbally abusive, right? I had a very personality from my father. Had they asked me about my mother, they would have found out that I have deep, dark addictions like my mother. But women don't ask that, and it's called attraction shock. when I meet a nice looking woman, I don't care about her uncles and aunts. I care about her breasts, her buttocks, her vagina, you know. And when,
Right.
and like you met that guy at the water, at the bank, maybe he was tall, wide shoulders, big hands, great face, full beard, whatever. It's attraction shock. So you're looking at these things. I hope I can get him, maybe just for one night, or he can be my husband. But you don't know about those red flags. You know they're there, right? But you don't
Mm-hmm.
about them. You're afraid that if you ask about them, you're gonna push them away, because when a man is hiding something and you expose it, he's embarrassed. Now you know who I am. That happened to me a lot. I was hoping that women wouldn't ask me about my past, and they didn't. But it started coming out. One red flag, two red flags, three red flags. And so I couldn't hide them. But it was too late because she was already in love with me.
Right.
Wasn't going anywhere. But you did the 19-year thing, because you were doing everything right, by the Bible, the church, God, your parents, traditional type of thing. You were forced to be married early on. So that was your role. That was your season, was always to find or have a husband. But you have to realize that other people have seasons, but what's their reason for yours coming into your season? It could be financially, it could be sexual. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, sometimes it could be spiritual, but we
Right.
don't ask those questions. I was very mature, and had a woman start talking about marriage to me early on, or even talking about God, or broke out the Bible, I was out. Because I was so immersed in what the devil was giving me, what I thought he was giving me for my life was good for me, but it wasn't. It was just my greed and my lust, and that's what felt good to my soul. Going to church didn't feel good to my soul. Talking about God or reading the Bible didn't feel good to my soul. To me, that was boring. Doing right was boring to me. Doing wrong and living on the edge was very exciting to me, and I lived that for a long time.
Wow. That's what I'm talking about in the chase. And when I saw that young man at the water, I just knew for me, thinking back over my life, being married 3 times by age 25, I just knew, okay, right now I need to stay focused.
Right.
A lot of times we may think, okay, it starts off really nice. It's always nice to have nice people, have nice acquaintances, get a social life, because I had people cheering me on, telling me to do that. You're a beautiful woman. You need to get back out there and don't let I I knew that. Listen, I gotta silence my mind. I'm a fork in the road. I need to know where I'm going, and I know that this cannot be a repetitive cycle for me. I've never been one to initiate. I've never been one to, because I know there's different types of personality types and traits of women. Some women do initiate. Some women do go over and talk and have a conversation or offer to buy. I've never done any of those things.
Mm.
But I knew that if I went and sat by that water and continued to type and write my book, that he was going to approach. And
Right.
I knew that because of where I was emotionally and all of the hurt and pain that I was dealing with, I would have listened. And I got to a period in my life. Well, look, I don't even have the head space for that right now.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's where I was. And I recognized that. I understood that. I knew that I had to deal with the brokenness that was within me.
Right.
And until I heal that and mend that and stay focused and drive my dream to get to where I need to be, where I can be strengthened and strong. Now let me tell you this. Fast forward years later, a wonderful man that I know, that we're friends. I was married at the time and he wasn't. And we talk all the time, and he used to always say, "MJ, I'm looking for a wife." I'm like, we'll laugh about that, and I'll talk to him about him getting a wife and all. And now he's married. I see him again. I'm divorced, and he didn't know I was divorced, But he told me one day, we were having lunch, and he said, "When are you going to take off that mask, MJ?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? Mask? What mask?" He said, "The mask you're wearing." He said, "I can see all the pain you in right behind the mask." He said, "You know how I know?" He said, "Because game recognized game." And I was blown away, but I had never said anything to anybody. Nobody knew at that time that I was going through my divorce. And he was my friend, and I didn't even tell him, but he knew. And so now fast forward, he's divorced, I'm divorced. We're talking. The relationship is building. Now he realized there's more to the friendship thing, that he saw something in me. And I see that in him too. But here's the thing. Now he's divorced. He lost his mother, and he's calling me and he's talking to me about all of this. I have on my counseling hat, and I feel bad to this day in a sense, because I feel like I damaged our friendship. But I had on my counseling hat.
How do you think you damaged the friendship?
Because I shut him totally down. Totally down. If you come into me as a friend and you just need me as a sounding board, I should have been a good friend to just hear you out and listen. But I recognize that where I am now, I'm in a no-nonsense place, no foolishness place. So what I told him was that, look, you need to heal. You really need to heal. You need some time to heal, because I'm not about to be on this rebound thing. I am not that girl. I'm not about this rebound. So I really felt like you're coming to pour all this on me, to dump all this on me. And you do need an outlet.
Right.
But I'm not there. Go. And I felt so hard with it. I was like, in my mind, I'm saying, you need to heal first, healed and mend that, and be strengthened in that, then come back and talk to me.
Let me ask you this. Did he tell you why he got divorced?
Yes, he did. His wife cheated on him.
So there was a possibility that conversation could have led one thing to the next, and you could have been a rebound.
Right. And I knew that. Yeah. I knew that. His wife cheated on him. He was so hurt. We talked about it. But, I was like, no, you need to heal. You don't, now. And I find that with so many women, we're nourishers, and we're that by nature. We love to nourish, that's our nature. That's what God's put in us. So we always give, we always find a way, what we can say, how we can fix it. I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. Did you eat? Are you okay? That kind of thing. But when women take time out for themselves, just like you said, I was cutting myself, not even realizing, because work was that's my coping mechanism. But I didn't know that, Leon.
Yeah.
I just know that I'm a very ambitious, a very driven person. And so I understood that some people, they are promiscuous. They go off and they have sex, they do drugs, whatever they got to do. I understand it. Everybody has their own thing. Everybody has their own craving. And that's what I talk about in the book. And so my craving may not be somebody else's, but their craving may not be mine. But I had to realize what it was. And once I tapped into it and I recognized it, see, I didn't even realize it until I was going through a divorce. While I was in counseling on vacation, I got terminated by email. And that's when everything began to fall from under me, because that was my crutch. That was my coping mechanism. Right. You mean to tell me I don't get to do this? I don't get to do that. I'm multi-talented. I multitask. I'm always serving. Now you don't know nothing, So now what am I going to do? Like, all these things that I was used to doing, they're not there anymore. So now it forced me to deal with me.
Yeah. And so
while I'm dealing with me, I know that there's a repeated cycle. Mm-hmm. So I talk about it in the chapter Manage Your Time, about time, season, and cycles. Going after you've come out of that chase, you managing your time, and you recognize this season is familiar. You've been here before, you've been here before. So if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting.
Yeah.
So that's why I can say now I'm lonely and I like it. I've been married before, not to say that I never want to be married again, not saying that, but I'm saying I'm at a better place in me now. I have grown so much further now. I matured. I can understand. I recognize these devices and I know what to stay away from. I know my season. And so many times we don't know. We think that we should be dating. We have to post all of the pictures of who we're with and what they've done for us and the gifts we've gotten
Right.
because we think that's what it means to feel loved and accepted. And we want the whole world to know that he's mine, she's mine, I got her, I got him. But I'm good. I really am. I'm at the best place that I've ever been. Emotionally, spiritually, I am in a better place. But I had to realize that. But as I was writing the chase, let me read this chapter to all of our listening viewers. That let me try to read it. Maybe I should put on my glasses so I can really see
Yeah, I
it.
can put mine on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay. It says, it can be captivating at times to be driven by a force that pushes you forward, forcing you to become all you were created to be. This driving force can be a passion, motivation, ambition. What an amazing feeling to be passionately driven. A drive that will force you to seek out those things you wish to conquer. Now, here it is. Just as a hunter seeks out that is pleasing to the appetite, there is already a thought out plan of preparation and presentation. A hunter knows exactly how to conquer.
Yeah.
Knows exactly how.
And,
Knows, study you, watch you,
and I,
lays back in the gap, stands still, waiting for the opportunity to come, to approach you.
and so going
And we
back,
leave ourselves wide open.
yeah, going back quickly to what you were saying, two things. I tell women, you're not lonely, but being alone is where you should be because it's like, leave me alone and I can do this alone. So it's not a negative thing when you're alone. Women need to know that. But like you were saying, talking about the hunting thing, and I wrote some things about that. You have a lot of great points in there on page 45. Where was it at? The approach. Let's see. Just as a hunter seeks out that which is pleasing to the appetite, there is already a thought out plan, preparation, and presentation, like you said. The hunter knows exactly how to conquer. The approach is usually in the still of the day before the sunrise while the winds are standing still and the air is dry. This is what got me, though. This right here. How could something so precious, so pure and innocent be slain? But on the other hand, should the hunter forego hunting and sacrifice filling the hunger of many? So I was like, wow. I was trying to process that because when I read the hunting part, I'm thinking about a lion um, feeding, hunting to feed the family,
Uh-huh.
or as a lion being a predator, as a man being a predator, am I hunting to feed my demons? So I struggled. That's a good point. What you wrote in there, it made me think about it in different ways. I'm a type of person I always think the opposite of what I read. Uh, and I learned that from a man that I worked for in the Navy, because everybody goes with the status quo. But if you think the opposite, so what you said there made a lot of sense. But on the other hand, should the hunter forego hunting and sacrifice feeding the hunger of many? And I'm like, I struggle with that. It made me think. I'm like,
Yeah.
but because I was never about sacrificing the hunger of many, I was always for myself. So am I teaching people to give them knowledge to live, or am I talking to women to help her out in her current relationship, or am I talking to her to manipulate her so I can get what I want? And the
Mhm.
the hunger of many, uh, I relate that to the hunger of many women that desire a man. Women are hurting. Women want sex. Women want to be held. Women want to be talked to. Women want to communicate. Am I using my manipulative mind from my childhood to have an abundance of women? You know, so that made me think differently about the hunting and doing it the right way, or am I was and I was a predator. I wasn't hunting to feed a family. I wasn't hunting to help other people. I was hunting as a predator and not as a husband or father or a leader.
Right, right. And that will a hunter sacrifice the lives of many. Um, Throughout the entire book, there's so many subliminal messages
Yeah.
throughout every chapter. And it was written strategically like that. You know, the Lord gave me that to write it in such a way where everybody can just put themselves right there. You know, I had someone say, well, Mary Jae, why didn't you tell the people during that time that that was about something you've experienced? You know, why didn't you say that in the book? I
Right.
have another book coming out, Free to Be Me. I'll say a whole lot of that in there. But this book was specifically designed for every listener to find themselves in the page, you know,
Right.
find themselves through every line. So there's subliminal messages throughout, its metaphors throughout the entire book. And it reminded me of Jesus, who spoke in parables. As I was writing this, these were parables and principles, and you had to catch it, right? And so, how can someone be so precious and so pure, yet be slain to sacrifice themselves for the lives of many? That was the Lamb of God that I
Right.
just threw right in there,
Yeah.
right? I just threw it right in there to get you to process that and to think, man, you know, I'm hungry, but should I go and chase that? Should I really go after that because of my appetite, because I need to be fed? Or should I just lay aside my flesh and not deal with that, where I can help somebody else in the process of me being starved and me being hungry, you know? So I'm glad that, you know, that you picked up on that, that you were able to grasp that and read
Yeah.
into that a
I,
little deeper.
yeah. I have now. I'm like the sacrificial lamb because I'm exposing myself. I'm transparent, and I do this to help other people not make the mistakes that I make. I do this so people won't be addicted to porn, won't be
That's
addicted
right.
to alcohol, won't be addicted to cheating. And so I have become the sacrificial lamb, but I don't mind that because I didn't wake up and say today or a year ago, I want to be a sacrificial lamb. No, it started. I started speaking and started talking about it, and I started healing and then saying at the same time, and it felt good to sacrifice myself, although I wasn't put on the cross or anything like that, but I feel like I'm sacrificing myself for the better of many people, and that's why when I read that too, I was like, ooh, ooh. So I'm a manly type dude. I'm tough and I'm strong. When I read things, because my mother used to read things to me when I was a kid, and I used to be like, Mom, I'm not ready for that. And she just keep reading. I'm like, so now I go back to thinking about the time when my mother would be sitting down drinking her wine and reading the Bible. And I remember those times, and I'm like, she would just say things, and I would just walk by and be like, I need to get out of here, but it's like it gave me strength. That's why I tap into my past and my childhood because I remember those things. It's like, we go through a hard time. When you running 3 miles and you start hurting, if you run it before over and over again, you're familiar with that pain. You're familiar with the heat, the sun, the rain. You're familiar with the breathing, the way you breathe, the way your legs feel. So I take myself mentally back to my childhood and how I felt when my mother said certain things to me or she gave me certain guidance. And it's like, okay, I've been here before. I've been here before. I can handle this. So yeah, I'm the sacrificial lamb, and nobody but God put me out here like this, and I don't mind it. That's why people say things to me. It doesn't bother me. That's why people like,
That's right.
it doesn't bother me. I'm like, look, man, I'm not talking about you and you and you and you. You don't have to listen to me. I'm perfectly fine with that, But because I'm not an egotistical, self-centered type of dude, I used to be. And when people
Mhm.
say things to me, I'll be like, not even hurt. I'll get mad first because I'm like, I'm not gonna be hurt anymore. I was hurt as a child, so I'm gonna get mad now. Now I'm gonna get revenge, whether it's a man or woman. I'm getting revenge. I'm blocking out this hurt, this pain because I didn't know how to accept hurt and pain. I had went years without crying, so I was like,
Yeah.
constantly told myself I'm not going back to that being that little boy, but I had to because that little boy had a lot of strength in me.
Wow. You know, when you said hurt and pain, you know, through the process of my struggle as I wrote this book, went through a lot of challenges even in writing that. I lost the book for a while.
Mhm.
My iPad was stolen when I valet parked at a restaurant, you know. When I got back into my car and I got home, the iPad was not in there. And my book was on it, and I was devastated. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody has my iPad and they have my book. And so I had the book backed up on a jump drive, but I didn't, when I went to my computer, then my computer crashed. I had a virus on my computer. When I put the jump drive in, there were 4 chapters that was not there. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's not even the writing that I did. I didn't save it to this jump drive. So I got discouraged. I shut down for a while with the book, put it on the side, was asking God, how am I going to write all this? You gave me all of this material. I didn't have it written on a rough draft. When I write, I just type. And it flows like a river. I just was typing. So now I have this back. Went through some other experiences that God used right in the book, all these little subliminal messages. But I realized that in my life, talking about that masculine side of me, that I didn't cry. When I went through the process of my last divorce of 19 years and I walked away and left everything in the house, I had gone through it and had had enough, that I didn't know how to feel. I don't know how to explain, but I didn't know if I felt hurt, if I felt sad, if I was angry, if my heart was broken. I had been through so much in life that I just was numb. I was totally numb, didn't feel a thing.
Yeah.
All I knew that I had had enough. And I talked about that in the chapter, How Much Do You Tolerate? I didn't know how to feel anymore, Leon. If anybody had to ask me, well, are you hurt? Did you cry? I hadn't cried. I didn't know whether or not if I was hurt. I didn't know how to feel. I really felt like, and I said this before, it was like somebody came and just like sucked all the air out of my body.
Well, that was all.
I felt nothing.
But that was
absolutely nothing.
So that's part of everything that was removed from your soul and your spirit. Soul ties, anger, discontent. And to me, that's the best time to start over, because you're pure, because you're naturally a loving, giving, caring type of person, because you love being married, you love being monogamous, you love being with your husband, you love being with one man. And so when you get pushed to a point where you feel nothing else, that's when it's time for you to start really learning who you are and doing you, and rebuilding yourself up from a totally different aspect, from purity. Because when you feel like that's what happened to me, and I'm like, I don't care about anything or nobody or nothing. But that was my pure time. That was my time for me to start resurrecting and rebuilding myself and changing my foundation. I didn't realize that until I started, so what happens then, your soul is open. Well, our souls and spirits are always open to blessings when you're a good person. They come all day long, and I truly believe that. But when you're angry, when you're a bad person, when you mistreat people, when you cheat, when you lie, and you steal, your soul and spirit is closed off, because you don't deserve to be treated right. You don't deserve the blessings. As soon as you wake up and walk outside the house, as soon as you wake up in your house and you did the right thing yesterday, you do the right thing today, you're gonna get some type of blessing. It's gonna be small, but it's gonna be a blessing. But when you feel that way, that's when you've had enough, when your spirit has had enough and it's not taking anymore. So you're just there. But that's the time for you to start rebuilding. I learned it about myself too.
Yeah, even with writing this book, I knew this book was going to be controversy with the church. I knew that it was going to bring about some opposition just because of the chapters, right. The chase, how big is too big, know your size, pillow talk, sex toys. Mary Jae, are you crazy? What are you doing? Right. What are you doing? And I laugh at it because I am so free in God that no longer will I be boxed in, no longer will I be held bound and held captive by the opinions of man and what they don't understand. And what's so funny about the whole thing with me that makes me laugh is that just the titles alone will have you no not even taking time. You haven't even read it yet, right? And so I just was in awe of God that he would have me to write something in that way. And I tell people all the time, there's a spiritual side, but there's also a sensual side of you. So what do you do with the sensual side of you? How do you use it to glorify God? What do you do with that? Do you just push it to the side and say, I'm not dealing with that? Not openly, because we deal with it privately, right?
Right.
But not openly. And that's what happens to so many Christians that are judged and cast away and condemned because they feel. I have so many people. That's why God gave me the platform, Real Talk Mary Jae. That's why he gave me the platform, Kingdom First International Teaching Virtual Church, K-FIT. He gave me that to deal with real people with real issues because we serve a real God. And we get so caught up into all of this religion, and we make religion be Christianity, and it's not. It's religion is a spirit.
Right.
It's actually a demonic spirit.
Yeah.
It's a spirit that will have people bound and have people spooked, have people feeling like they can't fit in because they got to have all of these XYZs and titles and or else they don't belong. I despise religion, hate it with a passion. And so God just gave me a creative way to take religion, relationships, and romance and put it all together
It should
and,
be together.
and send it out to the masses, to the
It's
world.
together anyway. That's how people operate in a relationship, healthy or unhealthy. They should be, because that's the foundation of relationships. That's the foundation of life. Those,
Right.
yeah, relationship, religion. So people are afraid of that because they've been conditioned to think otherwise because of religion. And religions are man-made, man-taught, created, um, whatever. People have their own opinion. They manipulate it. They change it around, misinterpret it, and
Mm-hmm.
people are hurting so much. They're looking for anything that they can listen to and it makes them feel good, or something that
That's right. That's right.
you know
That's right.
it
And
sounds
the Bible says that the world is so much wiser than the church,
yeah.
so much wiser. That's why we have the people running to all of these things because they need something. They need something. They're
Yeah.
looking for something to encourage them, empower them. Like so many people feel like I'm dealing with this, but I don't know who to talk to because you don't want to go and talk to somebody that's going to judge you when you leave there or you know, signal you out to the next person. Oh, that's her. That's the one. Oh, that's him. That's that's the one that
Right.
was there. And so I'm just so tired of it. I was tired of seeing married marriages falling apart in the name of God.
Mm-hmm.
I just got tired of that, you know, and being told to a certain extent because I know my ex-husband told me that, oh, you're out of the will of God because I wanted a divorce. But I'm in the will of God while you're doing all that's the will of God, right? But because I want a divorce and I'm out of here, I'm out of the will of God now.
Well, they'll
So
use that.
how many marriages are really out of the will of God?
But when people say that, not just men, women too, but when they say you're out of the will of God, and I don't hear it that often, they try to shock you into not going, scare you into not leaving. That's the first
Right.
like that do. And then, okay, you decide to stay, but what is he gonna do now? Is he gonna change? He gonna make himself better? He gonna make himself better for you? He can stop doing what he's doing, stop being abusive, whatever. But people do that to make people think, make them afraid to leave. You know, it's like a lot of women are afraid to leave because they don't want to forsake God. They don't want to do the wrong thing. They don't want to go against the church. They don't want the church to judge them. And if it's a real church, a good church, they won't judge you.
Right.
They
Exactly.
may recommend that you not be with him after counseling. But yeah, it's tough. I don't go to church, Mary, to be honest. I've had a lot of women ask me, are you saved? And Leon, I can't date you because you're not saved. And I'm like, saved from what? The devil? Yeah. Addictions? Yeah. My past? Yeah. But my thing is, I can't quote anything out of the Bible, word for word, verbatim. I can read the Bible. And, well, the key thing for me is that I can live by those scriptures. I can live by those words. I know men and women that can quote them verbatim, but live the opposite.
Right.
I have male and female friends that are in the pulpit and then go home and curse their wife out, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing anything like that. I've never cursed my wife out. So when people come to me and say, you're not saved, you're not this, you're not qualified to tell me what I'm not. I know I have a great relationship with God. I know there was times where I didn't believe in God years ago, right? I know God covers me. I know He has me. I got a personal relationship with God, just like everybody else, but I understand my relationship with God.
That's right.
Yeah, He talks to me every single day. I don't
Yes.
like when I speak at these schools, at these youth centers, I don't prepare any of that stuff. They said, Leon, can you come and speak tomorrow? I'm like, cool, what time? 3 o'clock. All right, bet, I'll be there. What you want me to talk about? Whatever. Boom. I step up and I start talking because God puts me on that stage, right? God puts me in that youth program. God puts me next to this man or woman, talk to him. I don't prepare. I'm always prepared because I have my preparation is having a relationship with God, and I keep it real simple. I do. I've had a lot of bad experiences in church. I've had a lot of bad experiences with ministers, pastors, preachers, priests, right? Chaplains. And I'm like, how can you wear that cloth and do that or say that? I was the same person, I just wasn't wearing the same cloth.
Right.
So I see what they're doing. I hear what they're saying. And I'm like, oh man, I look back on my life. I don't know how I did the things that I did. I don't know how I cheated like that. I don't know how I lied. I can't imagine how I did it. I know how I did it, but I can't do that stuff anymore. It's just so chilling to me to think about it, even now.
Hmm. Yeah. Leon, what can you say to our listening audience that are experiencing the chase, that are going through some experience in life and they're chasing all of these things, and knowing that the enemy knows their appetite and they're leading themselves in the wilderness.
Yeah.
They're leading themselves down the path to be devoured, so to speak.
So
What can you say to them? Let's hear from you on that.
here's my one of the things I ask a lot of women, and it's funny, Mary, because it's something that I created and I thought about it. First of all, ladies, sit down and just sit down. Think about your life, your past. What are you going through now? Why are you going through what you're going through? Right? Are you like your mother? Are you like your father? Do your research on your parents, your genetics, your DNA. Think about the traits that have been passed down to you. Are you handling them? Do you know what they are? Do you know how you get them out of your system? Right? Um, who are you? What do you desire? Are you selling for what you desire or what you deserve? Which one is it? Are you getting both? What you desire and what you deserve, right? What's your role in your relationship? This man that you seek, these men that you seek, or this man that you're with, do you know him? Do you know his past? Or woman, whoever you're with, do you know their past? Do you know about their addictions? Their egregious ways, their personality, right? Do you know what season they're in? If they're in the season, what season is it and why? Y'all have to ask people these simple questions. And like we talked about early on, Mary, don't just go on a date for the steak and the lobster. Talk to this person because you don't want to stop wasting time. You can go on another date, and then you find out you don't like this person, or you find out you like this person and they're not who they are 6 months down the line. You could be possibly dating a bank robber, a murderer, a rapist, a child molester. Somebody that's verbally abusive, like I was. Ask the questions, and then you see a person in their eyes who they really are in their body language. But I want to ask you ladies this two-part question. That's it. What kind of men like you, right? What kind of men do you like? You can answer the question. He's 6'3", wide shoulders, house, car, job, beard, mustache, eyebrows, whatever. But what kind of man likes you? And I ask that question a lot, and a lot of women, they stop, Mary. They don't know. So you all know who you like, but who likes you? And if you don't know that, that's the type of people, man, you need to put yourself around. Not just saying you're hungry or thirsty, but change your circle up, change your mindset. And what do you want from a man? I'm not saying lower your standards ever, but make sure you're fair and he understands you and you understand him.
Well said. Well said. What kind of man likes you?
Yeah,
Um, that's so well said because we always have a list, and I talk about that in chapter 1. Market your product. I talk about how we market ourselves. What are we willing to give? We
yeah,
want all of this, but what type of investment are you? Why would somebody invest in you and give you their time and their energy? Who are you? What do you have to offer? What is it that you bring to the table? I talk about that. And market your product, make the investment. I talk about that in those chapters. Leon, I am so happy to have you sharing with us on today. You know, all of the wealth of the information that you have shared, you know, iron sharpens iron. So I'm so excited to have you to highlight the chapter of my new book, Intrigue. Um, Make the investment, manage your time, and all of the chapters that are within, and all of the innuendos throughout. It's very intriguing, and I couldn't think of anybody better to have to share this topic with me than Chase. I knew you were going to bring it, and I knew you were going to bring it all the way, all the way.
It's a good read, Mary. I enjoyed it. The good thing about it is that it's quick, it's to the point, and it made me think. I was like, ooh, I was scrolling, let me read a little more, but I enjoyed it, and a lot of people will enjoy it. It's not long for people. The words are clear. You know, the paragraphs are short and very profound, and you get right to the point. And that's what I like about your book. Thank you for letting me read the chapter.
Thank you so much for your chapter review on the book, The Chase too. I'm so happy to have you here with me. Let me try to get this off the screen. There you go. To have you here with me to share in this chapter and to celebrate my birthday, because my birthday is coming up on July 23rd. So I'm excited that the book will be released. And I kind of held the book back for that purpose. That it would be released on July 23rd to celebrate my birthday. So thank you. Thank you. This is a great birthday gift today, just having you on the show to share with me from the subject.
Happy early birthday. Is it going to be on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, where?
Yes, it's going to be on Amazon coming July 23rd. So, you know, those listening viewers can pick up a copy on Amazon on July 23rd, or you can go to Mary Jae enterprises.com on July 23rd, and it should be uploaded by then there too.
I enjoyed it. Great writing, Mary. You did a great job on this. It draws. It's going to draw a lot of people in from the beginning. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Leon, for coming on. Now, did you have a happy Merry Monday?
Happy Merry Monday, right? And happy early birthday too. I know we'll talk again before your birthday, but enjoy your birthday month.
Thank you. I will definitely. Thank you so much.
All right.
Happy Merry Monday, everybody. Happy Merry Monday. I want you all to have a wonderful day. Enjoy today.